Okay, we're going to draw a vector with its tail at 4, 8 and head at negative 3, 1. This is the review for the quiz that is on Thursday of this week. Snow day or not, this is your review. So get it done. 4, 8 is the tail. So it's 4, 8. That's the tail, and the head's at negative 3, 1. So I'm going to put the head here. I'm just going to draw a line here. I'll try to draw my best straight line. And that is how you draw vector P, with tail here and head here. Make sure the head has the arrow showing that direction. So they want you to write the component form of P. So you always do head minus tail. Head minus tail. So that would be negative 3 minus 4. If you do 4 minus 3, you will get this wrong. And then you're going to do 1 minus 8. So the answer is negative 7, negative 7, the component form. Okay, so basically what that means on the graph here is that from the tail, if you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you went 7 to the left, and you're going to go 7 down. That's your horizontal vertical motion. Okay, and then what does it find basically the magnitude of this in radical form? So you have a 7 and a 7 right here. So you're trying to find this right here, the absolute value of P, the length. So basically that is the square root of 7 squared and 7 squared, which is 49 and 49, which is square root of 98. Square root of 98 is actually, if you did your tree here, 2 and 49, which is 7 and 7. So it is 7 square root of 2. And that is your answer. Are these equal vectors? So M in standard position looks like this. That's negative 3, 2. And then the other one is 3, negative 2. They go in opposite directions, so they are not equal. Opposite directions. Next one says add. I know you can't really see this, but it says add 2, 5. So symbolically, you're adding the horizontals and you're adding the verticals. So you add the horizontals first. So that would be negative 3. And then if you add the verticals, which are these two, you would get 5 and negative 3, which is 2. So this is your addition of this. So how would you show that on the graph? So the first one, S, you do in standard position. So you're going to go over 2, up 5. In standard position, that's what that vector S looks like. So we'll go S right here. And then vector T is 5 left, 3 down from the tip of this. So you put the tail of T onto the tip of S. So we're going to go 5 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down 3. Draw that vector. And then the answer is the green one here. And let's see if that makes sense to our answer. We had negative 3, 2. If we went left 3, up 2, that is showing the same answer. So this you would show as vector S plus T. And then you would show this one as T. And this one is S. So there's S, there's T, and this is S plus T, which is the resultant of the problem. All right, 4. So symbolically, you have negative 1 and 7, correct? And then we're subtracting 3 and negative 5. So you're going to distribute this negative. We're going to make this a plus. We're going to make this a negative 3 and a positive 5 because you're distributing that. And then you add negative 1 and negative 3 for a negative 4. And then you add 7 and 5 for a 12. So your final answer, so you should be ending up, when you're done with this, you should end up at negative 4, 12. Is that right here? I think it's going to end up right there. So let's see if we're right. So the first one was negative 1, 7. So you go left 1, up 7. standard position. This is really steep, so be careful here. That's vector D. Then we're going to add to this 3, -5, but we're not adding, we're subtracting this, so we're actually doing the additive inverse. So it's this one that you're doing, not the 3, -5, but the -3, 5 that you're doing. So from here, you're going to go -3, 5. You end up right there. You do this one, and that is vector W. And then your answer is this green one, which is B minus W. And that shows at -4, 12. So you have all 3 parts of this drawing to get your credit on this. So 5A, 3U in symbolic form would be 3, -2, 3. So basically you are distributing the 3 with this. You're tripling each of the components for -6, 9. The way that you graph that is you go -2 up 3 once, and you draw a U. Then you do it again from tip to tail. 1, 2, 3. Do it again. U. I think I went too many on that one. Right, that's it. And the last one, I'm not sure where I'm at now. -2 up 3. And that should be -6, 9. Which it is. Okay, so page 2. Compute the magnitude and direction of each angle. There is no angle. Should we just draw this? Let's just draw one. How about that? I'm going to put a point at 4, -2. Let's just make one up. And let's do a point at -2, 3. That'll be the head. So let's draw that out. Okay, so let's say this is our picture. So to compute the magnitude of this, I like to sketch a right triangle in here. So I would like this. And you can just count if you want. So the horizontal component is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the left. And then you went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are your horizontal and vertical components, -6 and 5. So the magnitude would be 6 squared and 5 squared, which is 36 and 25, which is 61. And that's good enough for me. It can't be simplified, so I'll just take square root of 61. And then the direction would be arctan of the vertical, be 5. So basically you're finding this angle right here, be 5 over 6. But if you do like a little, you do X and Y axis right here at the tail of this right here is going into the second quadrant. So whatever we get, we're going to say north of west. So we're going to type this in. My calculator's stuck here. As you can see, I'm trying to get this calculator to go. Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. Alright, so let's figure all this out. We have arctan of 5, 6. So it's 39.8. So you would say 39.8 north of west. Another way of saying that is you could do 180 minus 39.8. So you could also say 140.2. I'd accept that. I'd say we go with one of those 2 answers. Put a big or here. Either or. Okay. So the next one, -3, 5. This is going to be in standard position. So you go left 3, up 5. So if you want the magnitude and direction, we're finding this angle. But this angle is also going to be south, or I'm sorry, it's also going to be north of west. So this is 3. You can say -3, and this is 5. To find the magnitude, we do square root of 3 squared and 5 squared, which is 9 and 25, or square root of 34. And the angle would be arctan of 5/3. 59. So you say 59 degrees. 59 degrees north of west, because it's going up into the second quadrant. What's another answer for that? You might want to ask yourself, 180 minus 59. So you could also say, or 121 degrees. If the magnitude in the direction is magnitude is 10 and the direction is 210, then resolve the vector into its components. So magnitude 10, 210. Here's 180, 210 is about right here, and we're going to have a magnitude of 10. So what they want us to do is resolve this into its horizontal and vertical component. Now this is 210. Some of you might be thinking 30 here for the picture, but actually you can just use 210 in your calculations. So you would say 10 magnitude times the cosine of 210. Now you could also say 30 here, but then you'd have to know that it's going left and down. No matter what, our answers are both going to be negative. So if you use 30, you have to physically put in the negative. If you use 210, it'll tell you that it's negative. And the vertical is 10 sine of 210. So we're going to put these in our calculator. Does anyone know what the cosine of 210 is? It should be negative radical 3 over 2, so like if you're doing this without a calculator, this should be negative radical 3 over 2, which is like negative 0.866. So if you times that by 10, it should be about negative 8.6. That's where I would like you to get calculation-wise, but it's okay if you don't. 10 of cosine of 10. Here it is, negative 8.66. So we're going to go negative 8.66. If I wanted an exact number, okay, I'll do that in a second. Wait a minute. This answer right here, so the sine of 210 is actually negative 1/2. This should be negative 5 without me even punching this in the calculator. But let's see. 10 sine of 210. Negative 5. If I wanted an exact answer, since 210, order pair, is negative radical 3 over 2 and 1/2, negative 1/2, you could say 10, this is I'm going to accept this answer, but you could say 10 times negative radical 3 over 2, and then 10 times negative 1/2. So the 2 goes into 10 5 times, so this would be negative 5 radical 3 and negative 5 if I wanted exact numbers. You should be able to do that because of your unit circle knowledge. But I'll accept this on the test. If A has a magnitude of 5 in a direction of 62 and B has a magnitude of 8 in a direction of 240, find the following, A plus B. So what I'm going to do, our little east-north chart. So A has a magnitude of 5 and an angle of 62. So the horizontal component would be 5 cosine of 62. This one would be 5 sine of 62. B is magnitude of 8, direction of 240. So 8 cosine of 240, 8 sine of 240. And we're going to add these up. So we have 5 cosine of 62, close your parenthesis, plus 8 cosine of 240. Make sure they're both cosine. If you're adding up horizontals, both of these should say cosine right now. Close your parenthesis and press equals. So negative 1.653. I'd like you to round that to 3 decimal places. If you only round it to tenths, you're going to get the wrong answer at the end. We technically probably should do 4 decimal places, but I'm okay with 3. So 5, now we're doing the verticals. Now we should have sines. 62 plus 8 sine 240 equals. Make sure these are both sine and make sure you don't make any mistakes. So this is negative 2.513. Now, I always say it's nice to do a redraw. So the horizontal is negative 1.6, which is about right here, and then negative 2.5 is like right here. So basically, this is where you're at. Okay, so this is negative 1.6, this is negative 2.5, and they want you to find A plus B. So that is they want you to find their magnitude. So you're going to take the square root of negative 1.653 squared plus the square root of negative 2.5 squared. Okay, so let's do our little work here. So we have negative. Okay, so again, I'm not going to use the negative because we don't need to. So 3 squared is positive. So 1.653 squared plus 2.513 squared equals. The magnitude is 3.008. So the magnitude, or the sum, is 3.007. You know, I'm going to ask you, like on the test, I'll be asking you for the magnitude and the direction. It's not really asking this in this problem, but I will be asking that in the test. So, magnitude is this, and the direction would be arctan of the 2.5 over the 1.6, and it's in the third quadrant. Make sure you know it's in the third quadrant. So 2.5. Again, notice I'm not typing in the negative. You know what? Let me put on all my decimals. 2.513 divided by 1.653. So it's 56.7 degrees. And that's going into the third quadrant, so it'd be south of west. Which, if you add that on to 180, it could be 236.7 degrees. The answer's in the back. That's pretty close. The book has 0.4, I have 0.7. All right, so let's do 2a minus b. So another T chart here. So 2a means that you are doubling the magnitude. Okay, so we're going to have, so the magnitude of a was 5, but we're going to double that to 10. And we're going to keep the angle. So it's still going to be cosine of 62. And 10 sine of 62. Now the minus means that you're going to add 180 to these, or subtract 180 from 240. So you're going to go, so instead of going, like if you were going 240 here, 8, now we're going to go this way. So it basically means 240 minus 180 is 60 degrees. So this angle is going to be 60 degrees when you have the minus. That minus means 60 degrees. So it's going to be 8 cosine of 60 and 8 sine of 60. That's what the 2a is, and that's what the negative b is. So go ahead and put that in your calculator. I got to open the door here. So we have, is this yours? Yeah. I'm using it right now. Do you need it right now?
No, I don't need it right now. You can use it. I'll come back.
I just rest in this in line.
Okay. That's 8.695. And then here's a, I'm going to show you another way of doing this. If you go up here, and right up here, and just press enter, you can go and change these cosines to sine. Like change this one there. Instead of typing everything in again. Sine, because everything else is the same. You get 15.758. If you do a redraw, this is definitely in the first quadrant, which is 8.6, 15.8. So I'm going to be asking you for the magnitude of this. So you're going to take, there's really no room to show this one. I'm going to do this in red so it stands out. I'm going to do this over here. So the magnitude is the square root of 8.695 squared and 15.758 squared. 15.758 squared equals 17.99. We'll say it, we'll round that up to 18. So we're going to say the magnitude is about 18. And the angle would be arctan of 15.758 over 8.695. 15.758 divided by 8.695 for 61 degrees. And that is in the first quadrant, so it is 61 degrees. So you just have to say 61.1 degrees. I'm going to stop there.